BO7 has been announced, which is kind of crazy when you think about that we are still in the BO6 active lifestyle with a map to go in the zombies community, and yet here I am wondering how the hell they're going to please this community. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. That is a legitimate question, because we have been thrown through the ringer in the last couple years for content and different difficulties and mechanics. And here we are trying to grasp our head around what they could do. So here's a couple things that I would love to see come back, and a couple things I would love to see removed. Number one thing that I would love to see come back is the classic point system, or if you don't want to go all the way back to the classic point system, bring back the BO4 point system. If you're not familiar with the BO4 point system, essentially every zombie had a base value. They would give you the exact same amount of points, be it you kill them with a bullet hose weapon, so such as an SMG where it's going to take you more bullets. If you kill them, you should get the same amount of points as if you use a sniper rifle and headshot them. So this allows a balanced flow, and you would be able to actually have a balanced economy in the game once again. Because at the current moment, every gun is viable because of this mechanic of every kill gives you points based on the kill. The problem is guns that are weaker, that take more bullets, are innately going to just not be used because there's no incentive to use them. The next thing I would love to see come back is more variety of crew, or have maps locked to certain characters. Granted, I love being able to pick my operators. I think it's fun, and I do like how in BO6 they have a screen that tells you if you play these characters, it's a more dialogue-filled experience. However, I feel like one of the things that you should have is the ability to leave those characters be locked until you beat the map for the first time, because I feel like it really takes away from the experience. And each map back in the day, you know, you had BO2, we got a brand new crew, which was fun. Or BO1, you played as the original 4, then you have Call of the Dead that comes out of nowhere, you play as that crew. Or 5, you play as that crew. Even BO3, Shadows of Evil, we played as a new crew. I mean, it's just fun to see the characters that they can create. And my ultimate biggest thing that I do want to see come back is variety of weapons within the maps themselves. I want map specific weapons to come back. My example that I'm going to use today is going to be BO2, but let's use Buried, which is objectively considered probably the second best map in that game. If you want to call it the third best because you think Mob of the Dead and Origins are better, sure. But what I'm not talking about is wonder weapons. I'm talking about the actual guns in the map, or the equipment in that map. On Buried, it was the only map that you could get the AN-94 on. You could get the LSAT on. You could get the Remington on. You could get time bombs. And then on top of the wonder weapons, it gives me incentive to go back to those maps, because then on Mob of the Dead, I could get the Uzi, I could get the AK, I could get the Death Machine, I could get the Cap 40, I could get the Tommy gun. You see what I'm saying? Like, these things bring you back to those maps because you want to play with those. And that hasn't been a thing since at least BO3. A thing that I don't want to see come back at all from any of the Call of Duty games, and I mean this seriously, is I do not want a perk limit back. Or if it's going to have a perk limit, please let me have 6, because I feel like 4 was perfect for the games at the time. However, as we've added more perks to the systems and reworked how they work, I feel like it needs 6 slots. Granted, a lot of the perks are overtuned and overbalanced, so if you maybe tune those down, I could understand it. But I do want unlimited perk slots, or a very high limit, if you're going to keep creating these perks or bringing back these perks that we've seen in other games. Another thing that I do not want to see brought back is nostalgia. And I mean this in a way of, please don't make every map in BO7 a remake from a previous Call of Duty game. Give me new maps, give me new perks, give me new weapons, give me new wonder weapons. I mean, I don't mind the idea of a map has 2 wonder weapons and one of them happens to be a remake, but let's use Shattered Veil as example. You gave me a Wonder Waff, which we've seen a million times, a ray gun, which is a staple for the COD Zombies series, so that's fine. And then as the main wonder weapon of the map, you give me a ray gun Mark II, so you're nostalgia baiting me from either BO4 or BO2, then you give me the modifiers from Alpha Omega in BO4. I mean, you're just giving me nostalgia, and that's how you're keeping me in. Example, the Tomb in BO6 gives you the Ice Staff. There's no original wonder weapon on that map. Granted, they added new mechanic to it, but at the same time, it's the same weapon we've had on another map. How would you rather invent the wheel or give me something that we don't see on the most popular maps? The biggest thing I don't want to see back, and this is from the bottom of my heart, is I do not want to see armor and salvage come back. I do not like the tier upgrading system. I do not like armor on top of jug. Sure, you could add armor if you're going to add it as a mechanic part of another perk or a perk itself. And yes, you can add salvage, but I shouldn't be able to use my starting weapon, upgrade it to the full max tier, and it carry me throughout the entire game. Granted, we had that in like BO1 with Mustang and Sally. However, Mustang and Sally's required you to keep an M1911 the entire time until you pack a punch. And even then, they eventually fell off. In this game, in BO6, and even Cold War, if you upgrade a gun to Legendary, that gun is not going to fall off before the damage curve. The problem is if you don't upgrade it, then your gun does nothing. So you are in this catch-22 of having to use the system to your advantage. BO7 has been announced, which is kind of crazy when you think about that we are still in the BO6 active lifestyle with a map to go in the zombies community. And yet here I am wondering how the hell they're going to please this community. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. That is a legitimate question, because we have been thrown through the ringer in the last couple years for content and different difficulties and mechanics. And here we are trying to grasp our head around what they could do. So here's a couple things that I would love to see come back, and a couple things I would love to see removed. The end of the day, though, is along if they're making original product finally, which is a tall ask for Treyarch and Activision in general. However, if they are making an original project and original maps with an original crew, with original weapons, even if you bring back mechanics from Cold War and BO6, just don't make me feel like an actual demigod until later in the game. The whole point of zombies has always been a fresh start into a later run where you feel more powerful and powerful. I mean, my example, like I've recently been playing BO4 again, and you get humbled immediately in that game. So that's my wish list. That's the things I want and don't want. Let me know what you guys want to see in the game, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.